All right, are you looking to get into teaching, into education in the UK, and you do not know how to? This video is for you because presently there is a high shortage occupation in the education setting. Because I go into schools to work, I look around. When you have a chat with this person standing next to you, you might think that, oh, I will be like, are you permanent here? The person will be like, no, I am a supply. That means the person is or was being sent to that school by a teaching agency, an education agency, either to work as a teaching assistant, cover supervisor, one-to-one attached to a student or a pupil in that very school. And when you have a further conversation with any of these people, some of them would tell you that they do not have education background, that they did something in marketing, something in that engineering that has nothing to do with education, but they are currently working in the education setting. Now, I've had a couple of people wanting to switch to education. Well, this very content is for you if you are asking how. Meanwhile, welcome to my channel. My name is Chinyere Ojike. Like my video, subscribe to my channel, and do not hesitate to share this video to anyone who might benefit from this piece of information that I'll be sharing here. All right, let's get started. So number one major point for one to consider is to prepare a professional and an attractive teaching CV. This is the number one, where to start from. Yes, sometimes you do not need to, keep making a traditional CV like you starting all over, going to Microsoft Word, MS Word, and start typing your CV like the way we do. Currently, I have my CV on CV Help. It's on Google. Yes, I found them on Google. That's where I have my CV. The job I've been doing since January, I've not included that in my CV. And if I want to attach it, I don't need to start all over again writing all this. Just go back to this CV Help. Though I think I usually pay £1.99 or £2.99 for 1 month each time I want to update my CV. Like I've always said, keep updating your CV, especially if you are switching a job. Don't use one CV for all the job roles. So I will just go there, look up for my CV, pay them again because it has exceeded 1 month, and then update my CV. Secondly, do not include irrelevant experiences in your CV, in the teaching CV. For instance, you've been doing care job in the UK and you want to move to teaching. Man, you do not need to put your care work experience in your teaching CV. When I was switching, I worked in care from June last year until December. Unfortunately, nothing of that care was included in my teaching CV. I had to put that aside. For example, your healthcare assistant experience shouldn't come in your teaching CV because it doesn't add value to a teaching or education CV. Yes, teaching does not necessarily mean that you're going there to teach, depending on what you are applying for, but it is still in education. The next point is this: make sure you have 2 referees available, professional referees. Your referees, should have professional email addresses. What do I mean by that? The email addresses shouldn't be like gmail.com, yahoomail.com, whatever.com. It has to be attached to an institution's name. For instance, my referees, one of them is where I volunteered or where I am currently volunteering. So it comes with the company's name. And why did I get a chance? Because my voluntary work involves me working with children and families, some refugees, so it's related to education, working with children, because the first job I got in education was with the primary school daycare, and the second referee I used was the school where I worked in Nigeria for. I didn't work there for 2 months and I left for Saudi Arabia, The lady in question is currently in the UK and she still helps me to do my reference. But currently, I do no longer need any reference from Nigeria, being that I've worked with different education agencies in the UK, so they can always reference me at the moment. Now, I went for an interview where I did not pass the interview. Unfortunately, I am an open-minded person. Yes, I think I'm starting to behave like the Oyibos. They don't hide anything. Hence, it's something that would be helpful to others. I failed an interview. It's going to be a story telling time. I'll share that story as to why I fell. Why am I making reference to this? One of the ladies that came for the interview, and I am 100% sure she made it to the interview, is a Nigerian, and she didn't have a teaching background. I asked her before the interview. She finished her program in the Teesside University here last month, May. That was when she concluded her program, and she already came for an interview in the early May. That was when we had that interview, first week of May. She had no previous teaching background in Nigeria, and she's not studying anything related to education. I think data management or something, that's what she's currently studied in Teesside University. And she told me she was volunteering in a school once in a week. Just once in a week, she goes into secondary school, because that interview was in a secondary school close by. She says she goes there to volunteer just once in a week, 1 day a week. That's the reference. They gave a reference from the school and the other reference from an institutionalized body, you know. So this is how she was able to apply. And in that job description, they also stated that you do not have a background in education, previous experience in education, but having experience in education should be an advantage. I had more relevant background in education. I taught in the past in my country, Nigeria. I studied educational psychology and all what have you. And I was also, in fact, as at the time of that interview, I was already working in the school. I started working in school since January this year, but I failed that interview. I know it will be strange to you, isn't it? But that's by the way. Let's go over to the next point. So you must not have a background in education to get a job in the education setting in the UK. I hope that clears your doubts. Yes, two places I worked: secondary school in Darlington. I am a lively person and I always approach people being a content creator. I had two other people. One is a student, the other person, a dependent, a married man. They had nothing, no previous experience in education. They are working in school as cover supervisors. So you too can do it if this is something you are interested in. Next point that you need to consider if you are trying to switch to education is for you to get registered with teaching agencies. I have made a video with the list of all the teaching agencies in the UK, at least not all of them, at least 70% of them that you could apply with. Register with them and they would get you job positions in schools, such as teaching assistant in secondary school or primary school, SEN teaching assistant, that's one-to-one with special needs children, cover supervisor. You have to be working in the secondary school, which is another beautiful place to work, but get ready. Anyway, if you want me to make a video on that, I would come up with that, and you can as well work as what is it called, an invigilator, exam invigilator, but it's not usually a long time shift. The shift is almost common, or the work is usually common during examination time. So usually the pay rate from any agency is usually from 70 to 120. It can even exceed 120. My first job in the secondary school exceeded 120 for just 8 hours. The pay rate starts from, I've never earned 70, sorry. It starts from 70 to 120 and above. Teacher Active, one of the agencies, they pay almost 150, if not more than that. Yes. So be ready for it. And it's usually a short-term working hours. You start working from 8:15, 8:30, 8:15 precisely, and you finish 3 o'clock, 3:30 for primary school, 2:30 or 3 o'clock in secondary schools. If it is in college, you will be starting 9 o'clock, finishing 4 p.m. Next point is this: you need to get an enhanced DBS. Teaching agencies, they might do this for you, but you have to pay for it. And remember, the DBS you have from your care work, care assistant job, you cannot use it for a teaching job. For teaching education, you need enhanced DBS. Yes, I've got two already instead of one from education because the first one I did not put it in the update service. So once you do your DBS, make sure that you register it on the update services or service as the case may be. And every year you get to pay £13 to renew that, which is fantastic. So I got one in January. I did not register it. When I registered with the second agency, I checked it as expired because you have to get it registered within 30 days. Within 1 month X, you have to do a fresh one. And some of the agencies, it depends. I think the first DBS I did was £50, but the second one with teaching personnel was £35. So agencies varies. You can get it done yourself, or when you start applying with these agencies, when they have done your interview, they can give you a link for you to apply for it. It is also allowed for you to register with as many agencies as you can. Like me, currently, I am registered with 3 different agencies: Teaching Personnel, Education Network, Teacher Active. These three at the moment. Yes, when you don't work for them, nobody is taxing you for anything until you work, and the tax is nothing. It's not that much. Yes, so it is allowed for you to register with different ones. Do not hesitate. And while you do that, you start applying for permanent positions in the school, because permanent job in the schools, during holiday you get paid. The agencies, they pay you, but they add the money as I mean, at the same time they are paying you your weekly, is it wages now, because they pay weekly every Friday. That's when my agency pay, or two of these agencies, they pay every Fridays. you know it is important, if you are looking for a permanent role in a school, why you build your experience working for an agency or agencies. You start building your experiences, dusting your CV, and start applying to schools, and be ready to complete a large volume of application with schools. Any job you're applying for in this country, writing application, sorry, completing an application is like writing a term paper. Yes. All right, guys, I think this is it for this content. I might leave some of the links to these agencies in the description section. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, share this video to anybody who might find it interesting or helpful. I wish to see you again in my next video. I think it's high time I share my story as to how I failed the job interview I went for last month. I might want to do it now. Yes.